Hello Canada, welcome back to another edition of the Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm your host, alias Guy. Well, today's the day, the big day. And as I have said before, in my opinion anyways, the most existential vote in my lifetime, and I actually think in Canadian history. We could see the fall of our country if we go red. Already there is a lot of ramping up. In Quebec even has launched again on this separatist idea. And in the last polls, it sounds like they're very similar now to Alberta. But Saskatchewan still has, believe it or not, the strongest opinion of wanting to leave. They're ahead by about 3% from Alberta, and Alberta and Quebec are within a point and a half away from each other. And now, of course, that all depends on what poll you're going to take. And I could sit here and show you polls off, till the sun doesn't shine. But that's just my average of going through everything, plus reading, and of course doing what I do. I this is what I do all day, all night. I'm just going to kind of close off this episode showing you Carney and Poilievre in what should be a real moment depicting their true moral self and where they talk from with the event that happened in Vancouver being a great, I guess you'd call it, showcase for it. And you tell me between the two videos, who is reading from the heart, giving you their true emotions and feelings, or who is reading off a teleprompter and telling you what their writers think you should hear. And then from there, we're going to dabble onto Poilievre's last rally in his home riding, which was a spectacle. And then we'll finish off with a couple other little things, including a huge endorsement from a Liberal to Pierre. Let's begin.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Late yesterday evening, I and all Canadians were shocked, devastated, and heartbroken. What we know at this time is that at the Lapu Lapu Festival in Vancouver, an occasion to gather and to celebrate the vibrancy of the Filipino-Canadian community, 9 people were killed, and more than 20 were injured in what the Vancouver police are describing as a car ramming attack. I would like to commend the quick and compassionate actions of those at the scene and of our first responders. An investigation is ongoing to determine how and why this horrific attack occurred. Authorities have confirmed that one person is in custody, and it is believed that they acted alone. Overnight, I was briefed by my National Security and Intelligence Advisor and the Public Safety Minister about the situation. Currently, we do not believe that there is any active threat to Canadians. I and my ministers are also closely engaged with local law enforcement, along with provincial and municipal officials, and they have the full support of the federal government. Une enquête est encore pour déterminer comment.
Now, could you see the teleprompters? No. But could you see him reading off of the teleprompters? Yes. Clear as day. I just pushed past the French and we'll continue.
Active pour les Canadiens. My team has also been in touch with the Premier's office and the Vancouver Mayor's office, and later today I intend to speak with David Eby and Ken Sim.
Oh, lost his place.
Last night, families lost a sister, a brother, a mother, a father, a son, or a daughter. Those families are living every family's nightmare. And to them and to the many others who were injured, to the Filipino-Canadian community, and to everyone in the broader Lower Mainland, Vancouver, I would like to offer my deepest condolences and my wishes for strength and compassion in this tragic time. I know that I join all Canadians in mourning with you. I know that Canadians are united with you. Tout le Canada est avec vous. Filipino-Canadian community is exemplified by the Tagalog term bayanihan. It captures the Filipino spirit of community, of cooperation and unity to achieve a common goal. And it's this spirit upon which we must draw in this incredibly difficult time. We will comfort the grieving. We will care for each other. We will unite in common purpose. Thank you very much. Merci.
Okay then. That sounded like a incredibly heartfelt. Right. This is Pierre. When he found out, he actually drove to a Filipino church. Out of his way, not even on his agenda. And he walked in and he said this.
Be here today with you in solidarity after the terrible attacks that we witnessed in British Columbia. I know many of you are shocked, heartbroken, and saddened by this senseless act of violence and by the innocent and treasured lives that have been lost. And Anna and I just wanted you all to know that our hearts are with you today. All Canadians are united in solidarity with the Filipino community. All Canadians are united with you in mourning the loss of these treasured lives and in binding our country together to support the surviving loved ones. We know that today will be a day of prayer and reflection for the Filipino community and for all Canadians. And I want you to know that all of our country is with you today as you mourn this terrible loss. And I thank you for welcoming us into your sanctuary today. And I hope that we can pray for those who've been lost and for those who survive in mourning their loved ones, their brothers, sisters, daughters, sons, mothers, fathers. All of them will have a deep hole in their hearts today. And we will try to fill it with the love of the entire country. Merci beaucoup de nous inclure aujourd'hui face à cette tragédie. Merci beaucoup. Merci. Thank you.
Now, from what I gathered about that is the reason there was very little media there is because they had all of about 2.5 hours of notice when he heard what was going on. This all was, so he kind of knew where they were trying to align it up. And from what I had heard is there were 2 or 3 that were quite far out of the way. They were calling because they didn't want to interfere. And the first one that called back and said, yes, if you would, please come. We're actually having prayers. He acknowledged that. They put it on their itinerary. They turned their bus and they aimed for it. And the other 2 that were en route called within minutes, but he had already made the promise of the one because he had places to go. So he was already late through the day because of the turnoff. There was no prescripting. There was no teleprompters. That being said, I just wanted to put that out there. Real versus fake. So, big news is Ruby Dhalla endorsed the Conservative Party. If you're a woman, a Canadian from a multicultural community, a young Canadian and or a hard-working taxpayer, just remember what the Liberal establishment did to me at Dhalla Ruby and all my supporters across Canada. We set out to make history with progressive policy ideas that were the need of the hour for our country. Instead, the Liberal Party wanted the same old Trudeau 2.0. A rigged leadership race with $350,000 stolen and the same team as Trudeau for the past 10 years. Can you really trust the Liberal Party with 4 more years? Read that again. Then make sure you make the right choice for change tomorrow. Written as a classy, classy dame that Ruby is. I have nothing but respect for her, and what she has gone through is an absolute abomination for any political party to do, let alone one who's supposed to be this whole feminist movement, which has been proven wrong time and time again. We can just start listing off from Chavez, Jody Wilson-Raybould, and on, and on, and on. This is en route. All of these cars are parked to Poilievre's rally in Peterborough.
Well, we are still a ways away, and there are cars lined up everywhere here in Peterborough. We are over a kilometer away from this venue, and the street is lined, like, way behind me, way ahead of me. This is absolutely crazy. Peterborough, Ontario, this would be stop 3 for Pierre Poilievre today. And this, man, this just keeps going and going and going. We'll see. Dude, if we park, by the time we walk in, we'll have to leave again to get back to Carleton.
Yeah, we gotta...
I know. Yeah, as far as you can see, man. As far as you can see in all directions here. Well, there's only 2 directions, but still. That's far. We are in Peterborough, Ontario. We're still quite a ways away from the location for Pierre Poilievre's 3rd rally of the day. And vehicles as far as the eye can see. It's absolutely crazy. Off 3 of 4 today for Pierre Poilievre. And the traffic, the lineup of cars here is well over a kilometer behind us. And the next, well, in front of us, it's absolutely crazy. People are walking in for kilometers into Peterborough here for the venue to see Pierre Poilievre. We're not even at the front yet. This is crazy. We found the place, I think. Wow.
Pretty crazy, hey? Pretty crazy. This is why I don't believe the polls. Now, this is an interview that Alexandre Levay had that you got to listen to. Enjoy.
Why was it important for you to be at the last rally of Pierre Poilievre?
Well, you know, I met Pierre Poilievre about a year ago, and he introduced my son's band in Canada during Canada Day, and the man took an hour out of his time and went backstage with us, and he was one of us. He's not above us. He doesn't think that we're his minions. He's with us, and I trust this man with everything. And you know what? I was thinking about you tonight, and I was thinking, she doesn't need a security guard here. This is her security guard out here. We're all in here. I trust every one of these people. And why I'm here tonight, to thank him for his hard work over the years. I'm so proud this man has over 20 years in this business. We need experience. We don't need a billionaire again. We need to get hope. We need to get a future for our young people. And we need to be united, because we are Canada, one of the best countries in the world. Amen.
When we see, according to the polls, we see that the people who are voting mostly liberals are the 50, 60 years old and more. How do you react to that?
I think it's absolutely crazy. I'm a boomer. I'm 75 years old. And I can tell you, a lot of my friends, a lot of my families are boomers, and they support Poilievre. Mm-hmm. And the polls, I think, are skewed to the nth degree. And we will find out tomorrow.
How did you react when you saw the headlines of legacy media saying that Pierre Poilievre might not even win his own riding?
Absolutely ridiculous. And it's just another ploy to discredit him, to make him look like a loser. The man is not a loser, number one. And I don't know if you know this, but the number of candidates riding in his election are something like 91 candidates. Come on a ballot. That's another liberal ploy, and it's just dirty pool.
That is a very well-informed man.
My last question is, if we see in a hypothetical situation where the Liberals are winning tomorrow, what do you think will happen to Canadians and the West?
Personally, if I was the West, and I love this country, my people, my French side of the family, we've been here since 1634. The last thing I want to see is separation either with Alberta or with Quebec. But you know, there comes a time when you have to say, I can't live in a fascist state anymore.
And quickly, when you see that some columnists and legacy media are trying to portray Mr. Poilievre as a Trumpist.
A Trump? Oh, he's anything but. He has stood up from day one about Trump. But he did not slam the door. But you know what he did? He left the door open a crack for negotiation. Carney's coming off as this big tough guy. Well, we don't believe that for 1 minute. He's not the tough guy he thinks he is. And you know what? You need to negotiate. They're the biggest trade partners that we have. But we're not pushovers either. We're very kind. We're very gentle people until.
Speechless. He just laid it all out right there. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. He's amazing. Now, after everything was all said and done, and this guy's been pounding on some serious miles, he had a rally back at home. And check out these numbers.
Strong.
Pretty amazing. And a small speech that he had here. He just shares a funny story. Rebel has a couple of really good clips here.
Wow, what an incredible crowd. It's great to be back here near our home in Greeley. There's so many familiar faces. Anybody here from Greeley? You know, the night before the election, how many of you voted already? And how many are going to drag out friends and neighbors to go and vote for change tomorrow? It reminds me of one election. It was very, very close, and it was the night before. And actually, no, it was the night of, sorry. And it was around 15 minutes before the polls were closed. And we were out knocking on the doors of our supporters, begging them to get out and cast their ballots. We got to the house of this very elderly woman. And I said, can we count on you get out and vote? You've got 15 minutes left. She said, no. I said, why not? She said, we're too old. We can't get out anymore. I said, we'll drive you. She said, well, we can't even make it to the car. I said, well, we'll carry you. She said, I'm very sorry, but I'm gonna call it a night. She closed the door. So I walked out into the street and I said, you know, there's about 10 minutes left. There's no other person that I'm going to be able to convince to get out to vote. I'm going to go give it another shot. So I went back to her door and I pleaded. And she said, oh, all right. And so we went in, we helped her husband down the stairs. We got to the door and we were about to walk out. She said, do I need anything? I said, well, you need some ID. She said, well, my husband hasn't been driving for 10 years. He's got no ID. So she had to go and scrounge up a bill. And so we brought them out, we got them to the car. There wasn't room enough for the two of us volunteers to jump in with the driver. So we stayed behind where they tore off to the polling station to try and make it just before the polls closed. Sure enough, it started to rain. And where we were in the pouring rain, a few moments later they came back and I went to our volunteer driver and said, did you make it in time? He said, we made it 1 minute before. And they closed early. So I banged on the door and they opened it up and I said, you have to let them vote. So they went in and voted and they came back out and exercised their democratic right. And so we were helping them back into the house, and just as they were about to go in the door, I took the lady by the hand and I said, thank you, thank you, thank you for what you did. I know it wasn't easy. And she said, and who are you again? So I have no idea if she voted for me, but she voted for someone. The point of the story is get out and vote. Vote for change. Vote for a brighter future. Vote for your kids. Allons voter pour le changement. There is so much at stake in this election, my friends. This is the future of our country we're voting on.
And this is just a beautiful scene. Somebody caught it at just the perfect angle and zoomed in at the right time. Now, the actual rally shots from Pierre's website and the other agencies that were there were quite far back, and they didn't really take the time to zoom in and capture this. This one here is posted by Rupa Subramera. I'm not sure if she got it, if this is hers. I would assume it looks like she didn't copy it off of anybody, but this is just remarkable footage. Tell me if this seems like a cold man to you.
There's something brand new about it.
I have to mute it because of copyright. Sure, a beautiful moment. Captured. And now, remember what I was saying about mental illness. This is going on every day. This is just a male guy on the transit having fun with himself. while he's staring at female passengers. And the bus drivers are not allowed to remove them. And the police are often just unavailable to attend. So remember what I said in my previous episode. It's not one thing. It's a combination of policies that have put us where we are. And we need drastic change. Drastic change. I'm going to attach Senator Don Plett in the House listing off all of Trudeau's corruption scandals, conspiracy, ethic breaches, and everything else that he's done. The kicker to it is he needs to make... Okay, first of all, there's 3 parts to this. It's so long. And he did it to ensure that for all time, what this Liberal Party has done will be in our books. So no Liberal teacher changing wording in the text to teach kids, because this will remain in Parliament until the day Canada is no more. And then even then, it will live on if it's saved by someone through paper or digital. This was an incredibly honorable thing for him to do. And I urge you, I'm going to record these and I'm going to put these on my Spotify. You can just click the link below. I put everything in my description. And like I said, I'll attach all 3 parts. But he does need to make a 3rd part. They're all just over an hour long. And like I said, he needs to make a part 4. And I don't know if he can squeeze all the rest of them in a part 4. But with the change in government now, we'll see. If Liberals get elected, we will have to change it to the Carney Liberals and just keep adding as provinces leave Canada. So it can all be read in the books to show legitimacy to the warnings and the ignorance from the media towards Canadians to never be forgotten. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I urge you to go out and vote. Like I said, I believe this is truly the most... This election makes or breaks Canada. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I urge you to share the previous episode. And make sure you get the word out. And you know what? I'm going to attach that Vatican post as well, link. And share it with everybody that you can. Now, Facebook wouldn't allow me to put it on there. And there's a lot of Liberals that are jumping on it going, well, there's no proof, there's no proof. Well, you can't put proof. But I showed them how to do it, but they're too lazy. So they're doing what they do. But this will happen. They already have stomped on our civil rights. They've stomped on the Charter and our Constitution. And they will do anything they can to create the dystopian world that we're falling into. Get out and vote. Democracy is not a spectator sport. Until next time, you've been watching the Canadian Citizen Journal. I have been your host, alias Tagai. Stay informed.